Tariffs are taxes or duties imposed by a government on imported or, less commonly, exported goods. These taxes are typically calculated as a percentage of the value of the goods or based on a fixed amount per unit. Tariffs serve as a form of economic policy that allows governments to regulate international trade, influencing the flow of goods into or out of a country. They can impact prices, production, and trade balances, making them a significant tool in economic strategy. The use of tariffs dates back thousands of years, with early examples found in ancient trade routes. However, they became formalized in economic policy during the mercantilist era in the 16th and 17th centuries, as European nations sought to amass wealth by limiting imports and encouraging exports. The Navigation Acts of England in the mid-1600s are a classic example, imposing tariffs and restrictions to strengthen the British economy by prioritizing trade with its colonies. Tariffs serve several purposes. Governments may use them to protect domestic industries from foreign competition by making imported goods more expensive, thereby encouraging consumers to buy locally produced products. They can also generate revenue for the state, which was particularly significant before the establishment of modern income taxes. In contemporary times, tariffs often play a role in geopolitical strategies, influencing relationships between nations. Tariffs can be used as an expression of hostility or to exert economic pressure on another country. For example, during trade wars, a country might impose high tariffs on goods from a rival nation to disrupt its economy or signal political disapproval. The US-China trade war of recent years saw the US imposing tariffs on Chinese goods worth hundreds of billions of dollars, with China retaliating similarly. This was intended to challenge China's trade practices and reduce its economic dominance. An example of hostile use includes the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 in the United States. Though intended to protect American farmers during the Great Depression, the act sharply increased tariffs on over 20,000 goods. It provoked retaliatory tariffs from trading partners, including Canada and European nations, exacerbating the global economic crisis. Such actions highlight how tariffs can escalate conflicts, creating economic and political instability. Conversely, tariffs can also be used to foster cooperation. Preferential trade agreements, often formalized through policies like the Most Favored Nation (MFN) clause, reduce tariffs for certain partners, encouraging trade and political goodwill. The MFN clause, a cornerstone of World Trade Organization (WTO) rules, ensures that a country offering reduced tariffs to one trading partner extends the same benefits to all other members of the agreement. An example is the Generalized System of Preferences (GSP), where developed countries lower tariffs for imports from developing nations to boost their economies. On the cooperative side, the European Union's Everything But Arms (EBA) initiative grants duty-free and quota-free access to goods from the world's least developed countries (LDCs), excluding arms and ammunition. This policy not only promotes economic development in poorer nations, but also strengthens diplomatic ties, showcasing how tariffs can align with broader humanitarian goals. While tariffs can be an effective economic tool, they are a double-edged sword. High tariffs may protect domestic jobs in the short term, but can lead to higher consumer prices and reduced choices. Conversely, preferential tariffs can stimulate trade, but might disadvantage local industries unable to compete with cheaper imports. Policymakers must carefully weigh these outcomes when designing tariff policies. In modern international relations, tariffs are often part of larger trade agreements or disputes. For instance, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and its successor, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, feature significant tariff reductions to facilitate regional trade. Meanwhile, targeted tariffs, like those on Russian goods following the Ukraine conflict, demonstrate how tariffs remain a tool for exerting political and economic pressure. Tariffs reflect the complex interplay between economics and politics. They can protect domestic industries, generate government revenue, and serve as instruments of diplomacy or hostility. By studying their historical and modern applications, it becomes evident that tariffs are more than just taxes. They are tools that shape global relationships and economic landscapes. Understanding tariffs allows us to better appreciate the nuanced decisions governments make to balance their domestic priorities with international ambitions.